Good morning, everybody. Welcome to new chapter, reconstitution or reconstruction of partnership firm. Today we will be dealing with the first part, that is understanding about the theoretical aspects, calculation of sacrificing and gaining ratio, and meaning of reconstitution as well. In previous chapters we have seen about preparation of financial statement of partnership firm. Thereafter, we ascertained the value of goodwill. Now, on the basis of same, further there may be change in partnership agreement among the partners. Now, how does change in partnership agreement arises? So, either the terms of partnership agreement may change, that is further because of the change in their profit sharing ratio, or they may admit a new partner, or one of the partner may retire or pass away. So these are few reasons for change in partnership agreement. So this was the same thing as we were discussing. Either there is change in profit sharing ratio, or admission of a partner, or retirement or death of a partner leads to the change in partnership agreement, and these are the reasons on account of which we need to reconstruct our organization, and that's why it is termed as reconstitution or reconstruction of partnership firm. These are the reasons because of which partnership agreement may change. Furthermore, partners may also be deciding to change their profit sharing ratio because of following alternative: either they want to introduce additional capital, that is admission, either they may want, some of the partner may want to retire or may pass away. It's an uncertain event, so it again leads to change in agreement. And third point of change in profit sharing ratio, it may be possible that one of the partner may not be able to provide enough time, or may not be actively involved, or some of the partner may be providing more time or actively involved, on account of which they may decide to change the agreement. So accordingly, reconstitution is carried out. Now let us understand calculation of sacrificing and gaining share with help of an example. Why do we calculate it? Because when we reconstitute a firm, some of the partner may be getting benefit out of same, and some may be losing out of same. So in order to compensate the sacrificing partner and charging the gaining partner, we need to calculate sacrificing and gaining ratio, or sacrificing and gaining share. Now calculation of same can be done this way: sacrificing share is equal to old ratio minus new ratio. And same way, if we want to calculate gaining share, exactly opposite, new ratio minus old ratio. Both are same things, but it can be calculated by different alternative formulas. So accordingly, we can calculate the respective share of sacrifice or share of gain. Now let us understand the same from point of view an example. Let us consider there were two partners, A and B. Their old profit sharing ratio was 2:1, and now they decided to share profits in ratio of 3:2. In this case, if we want to calculate sacrifice or gaining share, there are two methods of calculation, either based on formula of sacrifice or on the basis of formula of gain. If we apply formula based on sacrifice, formula will be old ratio minus new ratio. For partner A, old ratio was 2 divided by denominator 3 minus new ratio for A will be 3 divided by 5. If we simplify it, the resulting answer will be equal to 1 divided by 10. As it comes in positive, we are applying formula of sacrificing share, so the positive answer will be termed as sacrifice, means this is the share of sacrifice made by partner A. Sorry, again I am repeating, 2 by 3 minus 3 by 5. 2 by 3 minus 3 by 5. On simplification, resulting answer comes to 1 by 10. As the resulting answer is in positive, it will be termed as sacrifice. Same way for partner B. B's old share is 1 by 3 minus sacrifice made by minus new ratio of B is 2 by 5. So if we simplify it, just sorry, again I have calculated it wrong. 5 into 2, 10 minus 9, it will be 1 divided by 15. Sorry. And same way for second partner, 1 by 3 minus 2 by 5. On simplification, the resulting answer will be, again LCM comes to 15. So 5 minus 6, resulting answer will be 1 by minus 1 by 5 rather. As we have applied formula of sacrifice, the negative value implies gain made by partner. So one rule to be kept in mind, sum of sacrifice and sum of gain should always be equal. Means if one partner is gaining certain amount, the same amount should be sacrificed by some other partner. The same thing can be calculated by formula of gaining share as well. In this case, suppose we apply gaining share formula, it will be equal to new ratio minus old ratio. Say for partner A, new ratio was 3 by 5 minus old ratio was 2 by 3. If we simplify, resulting answer comes to minus 1 by 15. As we are applying formula of gaining share, positive answer will be termed as gain and negative answer will be termed as sacrifice. Same way for partner B, new ratio is 2 by 5 and old ratio is 1 by 3. If we simplify it, resulting answer comes to plus 1 by 15, and this will be termed as gain because we have applied formula of gaining share. So this is the way of calculation of sacrificing or gaining share. Now there are three important aspects to be covered on reconstitution of partnership firm. One is we need to revalue all the assets and liabilities under normal course. If we apply the provisions of what we say accounting principles, it states that assets and liabilities should be recorded at book value, but whenever reconstruction is carried out, we will be revaluing assets and liabilities. Means we will be now recording the assets and liabilities at market value. Second is distribution of accumulated profits and losses. Means the reserves created by the firm or losses faced up till now by the firm has to be provided or charged to old partners. And third is adjustment of goodwill. The goodwill valuation we have already studied. This goodwill has to be adjusted among sacrificing and gaining partner. Goodwill is basically calculated to compensate the sacrificing partner and charge the gaining partner. Then coming towards the difference between sacrificing and gaining ratio. So sacrifice is calculated so as to compensate the sacrificing partner, whereas gaining ratio is calculated to charge gaining partner. Means gaining partner will be providing certain amount of money to sacrificing partner to compensate because of the new share received by gaining partner. You can say sacrifice is calculated under admission of partner, whereas gaining is calculated from point of view of retiring partner. So this is the application. Sacrificing partner is supposed to receive goodwill, whereas gaining partner is supposed to pay goodwill. These are the reasons or differences between sacrificing and gaining ratio. Then coming towards next point where our chapter begins, accounting treatment of revaluation of assets and liabilities. Now the very first part we will be studying in this chapter. In this chapter we have only these two things. One is revaluation of assets and liabilities and second is distribution of accumulated profits and losses. In this chapter we are not going to study about adjustment of goodwill. That is not there in syllabus, so we won't discuss about same. Right now let us deal with first topic, that is revaluation of assets and liabilities. Now how revaluation of assets and liabilities is carried out? So for that, one temporary account known as profit and loss adjustment account, also known as revaluation account, is created. Whenever reconstitution is carried out, assets and liabilities are to be revalued, and revalued assets and liabilities are to be adjusted through revaluation account or P&L adjustment account. Now coming towards various types of transactions. The first is for increase in value of assets. Suppose building were 5 lakh and now they are to be valued at 10 lakh. The value of asset will increase by 5 lakh. So any asset if increases, in that case entry will be assets always have debit balance. In order to increase the value of assets, assets are to be debited. So entry will be assets account debit to revaluation account. This is for increase in value of asset. Same way, if the value of asset reduces, in that case assets are to be credited, and again this adjustment has to be carried out through revaluation account. So revaluation account has to be debited. Entry will be revaluation account debit to asset account. Then third is for recording an unrecorded asset. Suppose there is an asset which is not recorded in books of accounts and now it is to be recorded. So it is as good as increase in value of asset, because unrecorded asset, if you record in books of accounts, it will lead to increase in balance of assets, and whenever asset increases it will be similar to first one. Entry would be assets account debit to revaluation account. These were the three transactions from point of view of assets. Now let us understand from point of view of liability. For increase in value of liabilities always have credit balance. When a liability increases, it's a kind of loss for the firm, and liabilities always have credit balance, so increase in liability has to be credited. And as liabilities are credited, we need to adjust the same loss by means of revaluation account. So entry will be revaluation account debit to liabilities account. Then fifth case, for decrease in value of liability, if the value of liability reduces, it will be profit for the firm. And liabilities have credit balance. In order to increase, we credit. In order to decrease, we have to debit it. So entry will be liabilities account debit to revaluation account. And last one, for recording unrecorded liability. So similar to increase in liability, if you are recording an unrecorded liability, it will lead to increase in balance of liability. And for increase in balance of liability, entry will be revaluation account to liability account. Now one point to be kept in mind, wherever assets and liabilities is written, it is implied you have to specifically write name of the concerned asset and liability. Coming towards next point, that is creating provision for doubtful debts or discount. So provision created on debtors will lead to decrease in value of asset, and as assets will reduce, it will be credited, and the same has to be adjusted through revaluation account. So for this, entry will be revaluation account debit to bad debts reserve account and to discount reserve account. These kind of provisions usually are not found for other cases. It is usually only for debtors and bills receivables. Provision is made just to make ourselves prepared for uncertainties. There is no other reason. Again, it's just a provision. It is not an actual expense. And finally, on balancing revaluation account, the resulting balance will be either credit balance or debit balance. Now what does credit balance means? So on revaluation account, if total of credit is exceeding total of debit, if total of credit exceeds total of debit, it will be termed as profit. And same way, if total of debit exceeds credit, it will be termed as loss. Profit is to be received by partners, and for that partners capital has to be increased. In order to increase capital has to be credited. So entry will be revaluation account debit to respective partners capital account or current account, depending upon the method. If we are dealing with fixed capital method, we will be using term current account. Fluctuating, partners capital account. Same way for loss, entry will be partners capital or current account debit to revaluation account, and this amount of profit or loss will be further transferred to partners capital or current account. Now the same if posted into revaluation account. From posting point of view, again step by step, increase in value of asset is profit for the firm. Profit is to be recorded on credit side. Same way, decrease in value of asset is a loss for the firm, so loss has to be recorded on debit side. I'm just putting symbols: decrease in asset, increase in asset. Same way, unrecorded asset is as good as increase in asset, so unrecorded asset is kind of income for the firm, so again it has to be recorded on credit side. Now from liabilities point of view, increase in liability is loss for the firm, and loss has to be recorded on debit side. Decrease in value of liability is profit for the firm, so it has to be recorded on credit side. And unrecorded liability will lead to reduction in profits, so it has to be recorded on debit side. Then finally, making provision for doubtful debts or discount on debtors, it will lead to reduction in profit. So to provision for doubtful debts or to provision for discount on debtors will be recorded on debit side. And finally, on balancing, total of credit may be exceeding debit or total of debit may be exceeding credit. So difference on debit side will be transferred to partner's capital or current account, and that will be termed as value of net divisible profit. Same way, if difference arises on credit side, it will be again written as by partner's capital or current account, and that will be termed as value of net divisible loss. So that's all for today. Now tomorrow we will be understanding further about calculation of ratios.